In due regard, in this respect, there are various initiatives starting from next slide. Starting from 2015, which the international community replaced the Millennium Development Goals with the Sustainable Development Goals, embarking on a journey to achieve by 2020 the agenda to promote prosperity, address inequalities while protecting the environment. So the 2030 agenda embraces the three dimensions of sustainability, that's economic, social, and environmental, and five critical dimensions of people, prosperity, planet, partnerships, and peace, also known as the 5 Ps. We did the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which put people and planet at the center, giving the international community a framework for tackling the many challenges confronting humanity, including the effects of climate change. With the Agenda 2030 and its far-reaching and ambitious goals under its 17 goals and 169 targets listed as universal policy agenda, covering a wide range of interrelated sustainability issues, such as transitioning to low-carbon economies, increasing production and consumption in a sustainable manner, conserving biodiversity. There has been a coherent framework for action, bringing relevant policy solutions and necessary investments together through enhanced multilateral cooperation that also includes the trade and standardization community. As trade and standardization itself, we look at the trade and sustainable development is addressed in Chapter 2 of the Agenda 2021, and Chapter 5, and Chapter 10 of the Johannesburg Plan. The Sustainable Development Goals 17.10 of 23rd Agenda and the Addis Action Plan of the Third International Conference on Financing for Development in July define international trade as the engine for inclusive growth, economic growth, and poverty reduction. Both the documents clearly promote the universal, rules-based, open, transparent, predictable, inclusive, non-disciplinary, and discriminatory and equitable multilateral trading systems under the WTO as a tool for achieving growth and development around the world. Next. So Africa's policy initiatives in these respects include sustainable trade as an exchange of goods and services that generate social and environmental benefits that go beyond the mere creation of economic value and promotes the preservation and reuse of environmental resources. So that agenda clearly defines the need for new thinking, combining economic growth and prosperity with the need for action on preventing the deterioration of the environment parallel to human and social development. So trade and standardization play this important role in allocating global resources for more efficiently to achieve these goals as the demand increases for resource and energy efficiency, production and processing methods for the sustainably certified goods, as markets for them are growing fast. So currently, midway review, the 2023 SDG Summit has been scheduled to take place from 18th to 19th September in New York to mark the beginning of the new phase of accelerated progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals with high-level political guidance on Sustainable Development Goals. So this is a date ahead of the UN Climate Change Conference to be held in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, from 30th on November to 12th December 2023. For Africa Aspiration 1 of the Agenda 2063, Africa is aspiring for a prosperous continent based on inclusive growth and sustainable development, while ensuring that the environment and ecosystems are healthy, and advocating for strategies to ensure that Africa participates in the global efforts for climate change. The African leaders from governments, business, international organizations, and civil society met in Nairobi for the African Climate Change and the African Climate Summit from 4th to 8th September 2023 to explore ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, as leaders made ambitious pledges towards the adoption of a pledging and commitment framework. So looking at standardization initiatives, we have the WTO agreement, which has imposed various policies such as non-tariff measures, including standards, technical regulations, and conformity assessment procedures. With the rapid shift towards sustainable consumption and production patterns, with trade and production given due attention, the standardization community have ushered in a new set of standards, which we call the voluntary sustainability standards, comprising eco-certification schemes, labeling programs, and private standards like the Fair Trade Rainforest Alliance organic certification, and also EcoMark Africa as voluntary guidelines used by producers, traders, retailers, and service providers to demonstrate their commitment to good environmental, socio, ethical, and food safety systems in line with the sustainable consumption and production patterns. So the VSS come with an opportunity to make trade more sustainable and governance of value chains in a way which enhances economic, social, and environmental upgrading in a process by which negative social environmental consequences are addressed, which contributes to better protection of social and environmental standards. Our standardization initiatives at the continental level, that's the African level, we have the EcoMark Africa, which is in the process of being established, started from 2010, and by 2018 was able to start issuing certification based on the 6 standards which are listed. That is agriculture, fisheries, that's world fisheries, forestry, tourism, aquaculture for tilapia, and aquaculture for African catfish. So the EcoMark certification scheme is a performance maturity model, and through which companies, especially SMEs, have been able to be certified to show that their performance is taking into account the aspects of the social sustainability, environmental sustainability, as well as economic sustainability. Also, in conjunction with the United Nations Forum for Sustainability Standards, has developed the African Continental Platform for Voluntary Sustainability to promote cooperation of governments to launch national platforms on sustainability standards. So we have so far, as ARSO, certified 10 companies which are listed, and these companies have demonstrated ability to comply with the sustainability standards established, and hence they are able to promote their products as products that are sustainably produced and have positive impacts on the society and environment and economic benefits to those who participate in the trade. So currently, ARSO is in cooperation with the United Nations Forum for Sustainability Standards and has developed an African platform that will promote and give visibility to the continent's sustainability standardization processes. So when we look at all this, you find at the international level, the International Organization for Standardization has developed the ARSO SDG tool through which it presents how far for each goal ARSO standards contribute to SDGs. And so far, with the ARSO having over 22,000 standards and related documents, globally recognized guidelines and frameworks, these provide a very good benchmark for ARSO to benchmark with the international community and ensure that what is done at the continental level is in line with what is internationally accepted. Similarly, we find that SGM, who are also part of our partners, they have developed under Committee 60 on sustainability, a number of standards which promote sustainability, and these are listed for purposes of your reference in this document. So our host, the Egyptian Organization for Standards and Quality, was established in 1957 under the name of Egyptian Organization for Standardization through a presidential decree. And subsequently, this has changed lately to the Egyptian Organization for Standards and Quality by 2000 by the presidential decree of 2005. It is the only national and competent body in Egypt affiliated for undertaking all the relevant activities of preparing and issuing Egyptian standards, as well as the different activities in the field of quality assurance and conformity assessment for the relevant products, testing, and industrial measurements, aiming at increasing the quality of the Egyptian products to be competitive in the international and local markets, along with the consumers' protection and environment. Besides representing Egypt in the international and regional organizations in the fields of standards, quality, and measurements and testing, it also provides the necessary measures for quality control of raw materials and products in the conformity to national standards through the verification of quality legislation and application of the quality mark scheme. It operates two product certification schemes: the conformity mark scheme, mandatory for products for which a ministerial degree has been issued, and the quality mark scheme, voluntary and upon request from the industrial organizations. So the objectives of this webinar in brief is to facilitate better understanding of sustainability and sustainable development. We will not read all the objectives. I think these are provided for your own understanding, and they elaborate all the aims that we have for this particular webinar today. So the hosts for whom I'm standing in today is our Secretary General, Hermogene Segimana, who is the current Secretary of the African Organization for Standardization since 2012. He holds a PhD in Analytical and Environmental Chemistry from the School of Chemistry, University of Witwatersrand, South Africa, and a postdoctoral studies from the Witwatersrand and University of Botswana. So he began his career in ARSO in 2012 as Secretary General, and steering ARSO to fulfill its mandate of harmonizing standards and conformity assessment to reduce technical barriers to trade and promote intra-African and global trade, and has demonstrated high success in all these programs. Beyond his more than 20 years of service in Africa, half of which in leadership positions, and with a long-standing career track record with the ability to deliver results, Dr. Segimana's specific areas of expertise are in corporate governance, strategic planning and execution, team management, and mentorship programs, among other attributes to his leadership positions. And happy to introduce you, Dr. Engineer Khaled Hassan Sufi, who is currently the chairman of EOS, and that's the Egyptian Organization for Standards and Quality. He has a dual degree in engineering and quality management system. So Dr. Sufi has more than 25 years of experience in quality management in Egypt, Africa, China, and the Middle East. This includes lecturing postgraduate courses, holding a BSc Engineering and MSc in Management Systems at the Arab Academy for Maritime and Science, and a PhD in Statistical Control and Quality Assurance, and a diploma in laser measurements. So he has taken on standardization roles and responsibilities at the international level. That includes membership of ARSO Council member of the African Organization for Standardization, and Council Board of the Standardization and Metrology Institute of Islamic Countries, SMIC, and former United Nations expert in UNMIS and UNMISI. Dr. Sufi currently serves as an ARSO Council member for the 2022-2024 term. I will move swiftly to also introduce our moderator today from Egypt, Dr. Abia Sadek, Technical and International Relations Director, and a member in ARSO National Climate Champion Network. Dr. Bia is a professional senior candidate who has experience in quality infrastructure pillars and activities through a job history in standardization testing, laboratories, quality management systems, consultation, and assessment, having a deep understanding of the impact of standards and legislation on health, safety, environment, and trade issues. Through her career path, she has been knowledgeable about economic and commercial and trade-related issues, as well as getting a deep understanding of the impact of quality infrastructure on the technical barriers to trade. Through exposure to her current job responsibilities, she acquired some abilities and skills related to project management, communication, and networking with governmental and non-governmental stakeholders, as well as factual-based reporting management, managing sustainable and win-win relationship with international regional counterparts in addition to national stakeholders. She holds an MBA degree from Liska Business School in Egypt, a major in strategic management. Dr. Bia Sadiq, after the brief opening remarks by Dr. Khaled Sufi, you will take over and start steering forward. Let me take this honor to invite Dr. Khaled Hassan Sufi to give your remarks before we begin the welcome, sir.
Thank you, my dear friend Robin, and good day, everyone, and welcome to the monthly webinar. I would like to thank ARSO Secretary for hosting this very important webinar, and I'm honored to be the co-hosting for this webinar with ARSO on a very important topic of sustainability. I'm delighted to see so many people interested in this important topic. Sustainability is about meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. It's about finding a balance between economic growth, social equity, and environmental protection. Also, sustainability is important for a number of reasons. It's essential for long-term health of our planet, climate change, which we are suffering a lot, pollution, and other environmental challenges, and threatening the ecosystem on which we depend on for our survival. Sustainability is important for economic prosperity. Sustainability also is important for social justice. Sustainability society is one where everyone has access to the resources they need to live a healthy and fulfilling life. I believe that sustainability is essential for our future. It's up to each of us to do our part to build a more sustainable world. This webinar is a very good opportunity for us to learn from each other and share ideas about how to build a more sustainable world. We will be hearing from experts in a variety of fields, including business, government, and academia. I hope that you will find this webinar informative, inspire, and I encourage all of you to ask questions and participate in this session after finish. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Khalid. Now I have the honor to hand over to our moderator, Dr. Bia Sadiq. Kindly take over and steer the meeting forward, the webinar.
Okay, thank you, Robin. Thank you all. I'd like first to welcome all the participants in the 37th monthly joint webinar hosted by ARSO in co-host of EOS. Today's webinar will tackle the topic, which is sustainability and standardization. This topic highlighting the developing standards aligned with sustainability goals as a means for promoting sustainable trade, production, and sustainable development as well, making sustainability an integral part in trade policies and standardization at national and international levels. And the first, I'd like to also welcome our panelists today, and the first one will be Dr. Manish Pandey, we will tackle this subtopic in regard of promoting sustainable production and trade and ecological awareness through harmonized standards, technical regulation, and conformity assessment procedures for trade as engine for sustainable development. He will reflect the Quality Council of India experience. Some words about the Dr. Manish biography. He is the director and head of project analysis and documentation division at Quality Council of India. This is an independent autonomous body of Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry in the Government of India. Dr. Manish is leading flagship governmental and intergovernmental initiatives such as the India National Platform on Private Sustainability Standards, design and development of conformity assessment frameworks. The Quality Council of India mandate is to lead nationwide quality movement in India through its various boards like NABH, NABL, and the Special Products Group also. Dr. Bande has done his PhD from India Council of Forestry Research and Education. Furthermore, he has published numerous studies and papers in peer-reviewed journals on agroforestry and sustainability, including UNCTAD research paper on PSS. Prior to joining QCI in 2012, he has worked in SGS India Limited. Welcome, Dr. Manish, and the floor is yours for presenting your topic for today. Dr. Manish, you are muted. Dr. Manish.
Yeah, okay. The host has to unmute me, which they have done now. Thank you so much. And I wanted to share the screen. So if you can also give me the rights to share the screen.
Mr. Ruben, kindly give Dr. Manish the right to share screen.
He's able to share now.
Okay, Dr. Manish, you have up to 10 minutes from now.
Yeah,
Please.
so let me at the outset thank ARSO to give Quality Council a slot in this very important and a topical program. I will straight away come to the topic. The topic is about, of course, sustainability and standardization. And I have a longish topic which talks about trade, standards, technical regulations, and how it helps in sustainable development. So my presentation would talk about certain concepts, and I think so that will help the esteemed participants to understand the way Quality Council looks for achieving sustainability through, through sustainable voluntary standards and of course technical regulations. Now let me very quickly talk about the compliance ecosystem in any markets that one works. So we understand that compliance comes from two routes. One is the governmental route and the other is from the voluntary mechanisms. When you talk about government, the government focuses on issues which are related to health, safety, and national security. How they do it is that they identify a sector. So let us talk about food. They will have approval from the parliament of the country, which are the lawmakers. Within the act, they would have a provision of a regulator. The regulator will then move forward to lay out regulations, and then the regulations will allow to do licensing for the various product processes and services for which a license is required. And once they do it, there would be a mechanism of doing surveillances, because usually at times the validity period would be more than 1 year. So depending upon the risk, the surveillances will be either 6 monthly or would be annual. And why are we doing all this? For a simple reason that the consumer or the citizens of the country get the best out of the money that they pay. So this is the one which is having the force of the law, and therefore it is from the government. The second part is the voluntary mechanism. Voluntary mechanism is something that the Quality Council of India has an expertise and also has been set up to do this. We as an organization focus on market driven compliance, which could be cutting across all the sectors. The focus that we drive is on the quality, competitiveness, and global trade. Since you people already belong to the conformity assessment space, so it is important also to make a point that if it is a regulatory requirements, the regulatory requirements runs only to the political boundaries of a country. Whereas when you talk about international trade or accessing global markets, the idea is to have a scheme or a certification which is acceptable across various countries. So either the government of the country does a G2G negotiation, could be bilateral and multilateral, or that otherwise that the voluntary schemes under the accreditation framework with IAF, either mutual recognition or multilateral agreement. That is only the way forward to do international or global trade. Now, how do we work on the sustainability standards, we can come out with voluntary schemes. The voluntary scheme have to be owned by a scheme owner. The scheme owner designs the schemes in a manner that it leverages accreditation and uses conformity assessment either through the process of accreditation bodies, accredited CABs, if I may use that term. And the CABs are the conformity assessment bodies such as the CBIBs and the laboratories. What is the end of a conformity assessment process? Either it will generate a certificate, a test report, or an inspection report. That will be again done through the same process as we have explained in the government, where they would come out with a visit to a processor or a manufacturer whomsoever desires that certificate or the test report or inspection report, and once they do it, they will issue the following. Now, what are the key principles when we operate anything which is voluntary standards and when we focus about sustainability? The main focus is about impartiality. Whether it be an accreditation system or any other system, impartiality has to be an ingredient when you do any kind of a conformity assessment activity. It has to be having a competence as the base. Always you can't do 100% audit or an assessment, so you need to take the risk based approach. Mutual recognition agreements are important because once you certify in one country, the only weight is either the GTG, which I have explained in my earlier comments, but also to look at that it is it comes under the accreditation framework, so that the certificate which is accredited is accepted by the other economies. And of course, we need to have global equivalences that will help a particular scheme to be accepted in other countries. Now, this is a wonderful example that I have already spoken to you, and I'm not going to dwell upon this, but this is more of a schematic presentation of what I have just spoken. But here, importantly, the point that I wanted to communicate, that as a scheme owner, we need to talk about the value proposition of a particular scheme. It has to be also inserted and integrated into the public procurement policy of the country, because you will only then drive the sustainability from the bottom of the pyramid. Any scheme and certification needs to be incentivized for the micro, small, medium enterprises to adopt to it. The scheme owner also has the responsibility to do the technical updation of the scheme requirements, because this is where the scheme is relevant over a period of time. So I thought that this slide is a bit of a repeat, but it would give you an idea about how these scheme owners work. Now, this is another concept which I wanted to share about standards, and we, as we have just heard, that there are two mechanisms. One is through the government and one is through the voluntary part. If you talk about voluntary, the voluntary schemes or the voluntary standards are something which I'm just coming to that, which are either voluntary in nature or they are private in terms of their design and development. And now there is a new term which comes is about the private sustainability standards. Now I have examples. So voluntary standards typically is through a very detailed governmental process. So in the country we have schemes on the traditional medicines called the Ayush mark. We have something to do with medicinal plants. We also have good agriculture practices for India, which is called India. We have also a scheme for medical devices and also a certification scheme to certify the traditional, community health practitioners, something which would also be very prevalent in places like the entire African continents and other, southern countries of the globe. When you talk about private standards, I can give you an example of Global Gap, totally private. While the retailers have sat and agreed to a technical criteria, now they have broadened it by putting producers company into their stakeholder committees, but largely it is driven by a group of retailers. Sustainability standards, if you talk about forestry, we have the FSC and the PEFC, and the mandatory standards we all understand are technical regulations. These are driven usually by the regulators and are sectoral in nature. It could principally be for things like food. Also, if I talk about telecom, so there are certain sectors which the government wants to control for security and various other reasons, and such standards that become a part of a regulatory regime are the technical regulations. When I talk about standards, there are two types. Again, you people would know about it. One is the vertical standard, and other is the horizontal standard. When you talk about vertical standards, these standards are the standards which go deep down into a particular sector. So we can give you an example of maybe the medicinal plant sector or the pharma sector, where they can have a very superficial kind of a quality system as one certification, but they can also have a very stringent type of certification that might be talking about botanicals and their kind of active principal ingredients in terms of concentration and others. So this is a vertical standard. When you talk horizontal standards, the best example I can give you is ISO 9000. When you talk about ISO 9000, it spreads across various sectors. So you can have an ISO 9000 given to an hospital, an operations entity. It could be also a jail, a railway, a running train, whether they have certain processes and whether those processes are documented and also acted upon. So this is some concept that I thought I should share with you. Now let us straight away come to the topic which was on voluntary standards and how we do sustainability. So for us, VSS is a tool for to create a sustainable value chain. What it does is assurance of quality and reduction in cost. It obviously gives you a competitive advantage. If your processes are all right, you do less wastage. And of course, if you are maintaining your safety and quality of your produce, it also actually improves your trade relations with your partners. It could be country to country, it could be client and the producer of a particular service product. And of course, usually voluntary standards has the very first requirements that they need to meet the country's regulation. So this is something that has to be helping the masses in terms of first being compliant to the government requirement and then showing that how they are topping up with things. Very quickly also that what we have done as the quality council, that we have had made certain voluntary standards which the government has taken as a part of their policy, and then we help also to drive the regulatory mechanism where the regulator take cognizance of whatever quality council does in terms of drone certification. We are doing something on cyber security, we have done in agriculture, we do in traditional medicines. So everything that we create for voluntary sector is sometimes also taken up by the government. Now this is an important thing. It is an example, and I have two more slides to finish. So if you talk about the scheme, it has a scheme owner. The scheme owner could be government or could be QCI itself. It is done through a stakeholder consultation, so it is not Manish or some 2-3 people who are finalizing the standard. It is a group of people who finalize the standards. Then we approach our operationalization through a certification body. It necessarily needs to be accredited or approved under our system. The accreditation or the certification body checks the compliance with respect to the standards. This is an example of medicinal plants where we understand that medicinal plant is harvested and collected and of course primary produce also is certified. The certification means two things. One is that it is a certificate of compliance for best practices. The other thing is it would help to give you access to foreign markets, thus giving you some dollar value more than what you earn. Now, this is what we have done as leveraging the voluntary standards for sustainability. So we have done benchmarking, because if you understand that we don't want a standard for domestic market and one for international market, so we are harmonizing the standards in one go that the producer can access both markets. We are talking of public procurement, and therefore you see that the traditional medicine procurement by the government has been told to be in line with the the certification scheme that we have done for traditional medicines. There is another thing which I have spoken to you is about being a part of the regulator. So here we have the drone certification scheme which the civil aviation regulator has internalized into their system. Not only are we doing schemes, but we are mapping a lot of government schemes and projects as for their compliance on SDGs. So here is an example where we have done one for the handicraft sector and one for the tea sector, that how are they meeting the sustainable development goals, and then we are also doing an impact analysis. Now these are some points, I'm not going to read through them, but now the consumer is also asking that how is a country also moving towards achieving the sustainable development goals. So with this, I thank my esteemed colleagues for hearing me out, and I am stopped sharing the screen, and would once again thank ARSO, of course, the Egyptian counterpart for inviting QCI, and also my board, which is the National Board for Quality Promotion, to identify me to present you with what we guys are doing. With
Okay.
this, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Manish. Thanks for your crucial presentation through which you present to us how QCI standards and eco-certification being structured to be tools for sustainable production and trade in India. But at the same moment, I'd like to send you a single question about what are the major challenges faced by the small stakeholders like farmers, producers, traders, and exporters in embracing sustainability standards and eco-certification that you present your structured tools in QCI in India for that purpose. The floor is yours there. You have just, please, 1 minute for your answer.
Thank you, madam, for that question. I think so it is very important when we talk about the developing countries in terms of compliance. So when we talk about certification and conformity assessment, the biggest challenge is about the cost. Cost is always a pain. There are two types of cost when you talk about certification. One is the cost of compliance in terms of setting up of a system in a manner that it is certified. So the cost of compliance is a major challenge, and the second is the certification cost itself, because at times the auditor comes and loads a lot of certification fee on small growers, which is a disincentive to become sustainable. So the solutions that we found in India is following two. One is that we have requested the government, and in certain cases the government has given certain subsidies for people to come up to a level where they are certified. In fact, the CEO of NBQP, who was erstwhile looking after the Make in India program, has able to fund all these MSMEs to come to a certain level as bronze, silver, and gold categories. So the government is giving some kind of an incentive. But when you talk about certification, India itself has come out with a focused thing about group certification, where we actually don't give a certificate to an individual small unit, but we actually give to the entire ecosystem one certificate, but that has certain rules to follow. But it is much easier than a cost for a single certificate. So for example, if one has to pay 50,000 rupees for getting a single certificate, when you talk about a group certification, that cost comes as less as 200 or 300 rupees, because there is an entire group which is certified, and the cost is then divided by the number of entities that is certified. And usually the audit cost also reduces by square root. So if there are if there are 100 farmers to be certified, you see that there would be only audit cost for 10 farmers, because internationally it is square root plus some risk assessment formula. So this is how the cost is the major issue, but the government and of course systems like group certification takes care of it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Manish. And I think it is the same case for most of the SMEs around the globe. So wishing to find best resolution for all of them for the sake of sustainable trade and production. Thank you for your kind presentation, and if you could be able to stay with us till the end for any takeaways, it will be appreciated. For the second presenter for today will be Dr. Philippe Okongo from ARSO, Central Secretariat. Dr. Philippe will tackle the second topic, which is the role of sustainability standards and eco-certification in promoting sustainable trade and development, the ARSO initiatives. Dr. Philippe is currently working with the African Organization for Standardization, ARSO, as the documentation and information manager. He is charged with official information documentation, communications, and member stakeholder liaison and networks. Having worked with ARSO for over than 22 years, and he is closely with the Office of the Secretary General, and having undertaken various professional courses in quality infrastructure and participation in various standardization seminars and workshops. Dr. Philippe has a deeper understanding of the role of standardization, Africa's industrialization, integration, and development agenda in the context of Agenda 2063 and AFCAFTA agreement. Prior to joining ARSO since 1997 to 2000, he worked with various non-governmental organizations and civil society organizations in Nairobi, including in projects funded by Canadian International Development Agency, the National NGOs Council of Kenya, mainly in strategic communications, information, research, and sustainable development, and gaining true experience on gender issues and women in development affairs. He holds a master's degree in library and information science since 1996 and bachelor's degree in education 1993, both from Kenyatta University, Nairobi, Kenya, and various professional qualifications in standardization and quality infrastructure. Please, Dr. Philippe, the floor is yours, and kindly start your presentation. You will have up to 10 minutes from now.
Philip, we're waiting for you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bia. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
And also to hear my voice.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for the introductions. Once more, it is an opportunity as a Central Secretariat to welcome you to this webinar session that we are holding together with Egypt. As you have been told, my name is Philip Okungo. I work for ARSO as Documentation and Information Manager. We might have interacted in so many other forums and also in ARSO meetings and also through my emails. It is a great opportunity to share this topic again on sustainability, the role of sustainability standards and eco-certification in promoting sustainable trade and development, and especially with respect to ARSO initiatives, including the eco mark. I'm given 10 minutes. My slides will be slightly many, but it is opportunity to interact, to take note, and to highlight so that as we continue presentation, we continue to engage. These are emerging issues in standardization about ARSO policy trends in sustainability, sustainability trade and manufacturing, sustainability standards, certification and labels, and also initiatives, especially the EcoMark. I know EcoMark has been around for some time, so great opportunity to share the experience. Normally, we don't take it for granted to highlight this to the public, the role of ARSO in standards harmonization and conformity assessment, and especially to address the technical barriers to trade in Africa. Formed in 1977, currently 43 members, and the members which together with AU and UNECA formed the ARSO are highlighted in green, but all members have equal rights and obligations. The FCFTA has in equal terms reiterated the role of ARSO. As you are aware, Mr. Ruben, the technical director, has highlighted a lot of this information about the change and the emerging issues in standardization based on the world and African current policies, and especially this one about sustainable development that came in 2015 through the UNSD's Agenda 2030, and the one which focuses on people, prosperity, planet partnerships, and majorly looking at sustainability in all the economic development issues. And this one is what now ushered in the issue of sustainability in standardization. The agenda is focused on the issues of climate change mitigations and also ensuring that the environment is safe. The people, the prosperity, the planet, the peace, and the partnerships all together are addressed so that as we are achieving economic development, the environment is also sustained, because with the world population growing at the rate that we have, 9 billion by 2050, and for Africa, 2 billion, then there is a threat to the environment. So sustainability has become a real issue, and the role of standardization in sustainable development, trade, and economic development cannot be overemphasized. That is why standardization becomes key. Agenda 2063 is benchmarked to the 2030 SDGs agenda. And Aspiration 1 under Agenda 2063 addresses the sustainability and the need in Africa. And this is pegged to the SDG goal 12, which also has got specific targets when it comes to the issues of economic, social, and environmental conservations and challenges. The 12 targets include, as I have indicated down here, I highlight responsible management of chemicals and waste, sustainability in terms of reducing waste generation, the promotion of universal understanding of sustainable lifestyles. And I think this is where everything is, because it's a sustainable production and sustainable consumption, addressing the economic, the social, and the environmental matters. And as we trade, we go back to sustainable trade and manufacturing, remove market distortions that encourage wasteful consumptions, making trade a sustainable engine for sustainable development, and also ensuring that our production and manufacturing process are also sustainable. The agenda itself, as under its Agenda 21, has taken care of sustainability in trade. And also this one is within the Addis Ababa Action Plan, which also addresses sustainable trade. Sustainable trade is seen as an opportunity to exchange goods and services that generate social and environmental benefits, which go beyond mere creation of economic value, but promotes preservation and reuse of environmental resources. And manufacturing is also just the same, because at the manufacturing level, we have the production. So at the production level, we must entertain and promote sustainability. So sustainable manufacturing also addresses the issues of avoiding causing harm to the local environment, cutting waste of raw materials and other resources. So the sustainable trade occurs when commercial exchanges of goods and services generate social, economic, and environmental benefits. That one is now where the sustainability in trade now comes in, the creation of economic value, reduction of poverty and inequality, and preservation and reuse of environmental resources. That one addressing the 5 Ps, and at the same time recognizing the issues of social, economic, and environmental in our production and in our consumption. These are the key principles in sustainable trade, incorporating specific sustainability provisions in trade agreements. We have this in the GATT, in the WTO, TBT agreement, and also in the FCFTA, enhancing transparency and traceability across supply chains, so that we know that the standards and the certifications which are done addresses the key issues which are needed in the sustainable consumption and production. The issues of voluntary standards come in, and the issues of recognizing the rights and also the vulnerable in the community as we address the issues of poverty. So sustainability and sustainable addresses the issues of social, environment, economic. That is now the sustainability in trade. As was highlighted already by the 2 speakers ahead, we realized that the need for sustainability has ushered in the new voluntary sustainability standards address the need for sustainable consumption and production. And they have come in this case together with the labeling schemes that we have also highlighted. They are voluntary guidelines used by producers, manufacturers, traders, retailers, and service providers to demonstrate their commitment to environmental, social, ethical, and food safety practices. According to the ITC, we note that the trend started in the 1980s, 1990s, with the introduction of eco-labels, the standards, and organic food. But currently, the number of sustainable standards continue to grow. We have around 264 active VSS in 194 countries and 15 sectors, and about 457 eco-labels according to the eco-label index in 199 countries and within 25 industry sectors. So the issues of voluntary standards are emerging issues that have come across, or that are coming along with respect to the demands and the dictates of the SDGs Agenda 2030 for sustainable consumption and production. And as you know, standards dictate the goods that are produced, and standards dictate the way the goods are traded. That is the issue of market access, in the fact that the goods must conform to the standards. And when we are promoting sustainability, the standards must also address sustainability issues within themselves as the criteria and also as the indicators that need to be met, or the specifications that the goods need to meet.
Sorry, Dr.
Within
I think we are going to be behind of time. Kindly.
Okay. Within the I'll do my best. Within the eco-labeling, we realize that there are a lot of eco-labels that are also associated with the sustainability standards, because when certification are done, labeling are also done. So we have different labels which have been also defined by the International Standards Organization. The first one, which is voluntary multi-criteria based on the third-party program, is highlighted here, and some examples. The characteristics are highlighted and some advantages. We have the one for Ecolabel 2, which is self-declaration. We have the characteristics are also highlighted and the advantages and some examples. And finally, under Ecolabel 3, as per ISO 14025, with the different characteristics and advantage at the same time. This is what ISO has defined, and with some interest also coming out in terms of defining these different levels that we have. ISO has got 3 types, and we look at the OECD, which has also characterized in different categories. For the ARSO case, you will realize that we are doing the African eco-labeling mechanism, and it has been a long process based on the Marrakesh process, which was started way back in 2002, thereabout. And you see it has been through ministerial engagements, and finally the ministers agreeing that the partnership with standard bodies, and especially also with ARSO in doing the eco-labeling mechanism for Africa, that is based on African experience and lessons, was very necessary. So that is how it started 2002, and all these consultations have been going on. And finally, in 2019, we ushered in the African eco-labeling mechanism. It was officially launched with sustainable standards that were developed. These are the sustainability standards that have been so far harmonized under the eco-labeling mechanism, and it is being implemented under the ARSO scheme. This is Scheme D, which is mainly focusing on the sustainability standards. We have so far in agriculture, forestry, tourism, and also in tourism. These are the standards that we have, and these are the different characteristics of the standards as they address the issues of eco-labeling. The eco-labeling mechanism is being implemented through a maturity model, and where we focus on bringing everybody else on board. Normally, we realize that sustainability issues affect mostly the SMCs and also the small traders and small-scale farmers. So we start by bronze, the least in the tires, as we move on. This one gives opportunity to take everybody else on board. The EcoMark certification is given, and it lasts for a period of 3 years. We highlight some of the issues and some of the processes that we need to engage on when we are doing the EcoMark certification. The issues of the surveillance that we do normally, and also the issues that arises when there is need for modifying the scope of the certificate once it has been awarded. These are the steps, the sampling, the testing, laboratory, according to the CBs, and also laboratory selected by the producer. In all of these processes, it is based on ISO conformity assessment standards, which completely guide the issues of conformity assessment. And this one makes it to be one of the best eco-label being done based on international best conformity assessment practices. As you can see already, 10 companies have been awarded, and we have also been doing training so that we reach out to the farmers, we reach out to the SMEs, and also to the auditors. We try to benchmark the success of the EcoMark in terms of the 5 P's sustainable production. We highlight some of the value chain practices within the agricultural, and we highlight the benefits of EcoMark. And if we look at the information down here, we realize that the EcoMark system is currently also achieving the mandate that is being, it was given by the African Union in terms of sustainability, eco-labeling in Africa, economic resilience, social well-being, environmental sustainability, and good governance, which are being addressed by the sustainability standards so far, which have been put in place, and then the certification scheme. The EcoMark itself was launched on the 8th March 2019, and this is where we certified the first 10 companies that we already have. So I think with us, it is a great opportunity once more to indulge and interact with you, and we look forward to more discussions on the same eco-labeling. One thing I wanted to highlight that eco-label is a voluntary, it's a type 1 eco-label, and it's a voluntary multi-criteria based third-party program. The label currently is registered with WIPO and the EU IPO, UK IPO, and benchmarked to Fair Trade Eco-Label. Thank you very much, moderator. I think we engage more. Thanks.
Yes. I think you exceeding time allowed, but it is worthy, Dr. Felipe. You give us a brief and detailed background about the African EcoMark. And as per I ask Dr. Manish, do you see any challenges currently faced by firms to be certified in accordance to African EcoMark?
Thank you very much. And I think this one cuts across the board. The cost of conformity assessment in Africa is normally high. Then sustainability, standardization, or voluntary standards are new emerging issues which most of the farmers are still not smart aware of. So the lack of information, the cost, and the issues of poor quality infrastructure in Africa are still a challenge that our farmers face. But we look forward to situations where if we have initiatives like mutual recognition arrangements, if we have capacity building that we are already doing to the farmers, to the SMC, we look forward to also now addressing these challenges. And then the issues of transparency in the labels and the issues of putting or including everybody on board so that when the standards are made, also when the labels and the criteria are made, we take care of every stakeholders that will be affected by the sustainability and eco certification systems under the EcoMark Africa. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Felipe. And now I would like to present the next panelist, Dr. Engineer Khaled Hassan Soufi, Chairman of EOS. He will tackle in his presentation the topic in regard of development of national sustainability standards for trade and how national standard bodies are working towards the publication of standards which have sustainability requirements, sustainability in the standardization process, and any other additional activities that national standard bodies could perform in the subject of sustainability. Dr. Soufi, as per introduced at the start of the webinar is currently tackling the role of chairmanship of EOS, and I'd like to welcome Dr. Khaled. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and good day all. A great pleasure to be with you today. We will talk about sustainability and standardization. The importance of sustainability and standard. Sustainable development is the development that meets all the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. By developing standard with sustainability tags, business can reduce their environmental impact and make a positive contribution to sustainable development. Some of the benefits of the sustainability standard for business including reduce environmental impact, improve reputation with customer, and increase market share and cost saving. We will talk about the Egypt and sustainability.
Sorry, Dr. Khaled, I think the presentation is not running. Dr. Philippe, could you tackle this issue, please?
Thank you. Let us.
Do you see the presentation? Do you see the presentation of Dr. Khaled? Do you have his screen? Do you see his screen?
We can see screen, but not moving.
Yes.
Yeah. Now it's moving. It's okay.
Is it moving right now?
It's not moving. And then also, if you can put it on a presentation mode.
It is. So let's try to share screen again.
Yes, kindly.
Now is it okay?
Try to move it up and down because we are not. It is still on sustainability. The first page.
Okay, just hold on a second. We will try to share from another device.
Yes.
مش نافع، هو مش مديني الصلاحية للشير سكرين. Dr. Philippe, could you give me the permission to share a screen from my side?
Yes.
طب اديني كده فرصة ثانية وشير تاني.
Yes, you have the rights, unless maybe if not possible, then we can do it from here.
Okay.
طب استني يا معي كده اسمعي. نعمل محاولة أخيرة. ثواني هي بيقول لي سكرين شير ده. Is it okay now?
Yes, we can see the first page, but
still not moving.
Yeah, it's not moving. If you put it on presentation mode,
I already put it.
That one there. Yes.
Now it is okay. Now it's okay.
Now it's okay.
It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes, it's okay now.
Okay.
أنا كده ما بحركش من عندي. كده.
Please proceed.
حرك من عندك أنت.
ما حركتش خالص. أنا شير من عند حضرتك. You are even doctor. ده كتموني screen. I think Dr. Kimuni, you are tackling the role of
something went wrong because we are trying to share, but so can Dr. Muhammad?
No, Dr. Kitumbi. Okay, Dr. Dan, you are tackling it well. Complete, please, and Dr. Khalid will inform you about the changing slide. So Dan, it will be your role. Thank you. Yeah.
So let's go to the next one. So we will talk about the importance of sustainability and the standard. Sustainable development is a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. By developing standards with sustainability tags, business can reduce their environmental impact and make a positive contribution to sustainable development. Some benefits of sustainability standard for business, including reduce environmental impact, improve reputation with customer, and increase market share, and also cost saving. Next. We will talk in this slide about Egypt and sustainability. Egypt is committed to achieve Sustainable Development Goal SDGs by 2030. Government has developed a national strategic plan, Egypt Vision 2030, which outlines the country priorities for sustainable development. Key areas of focus in Egyptian sustainability development are including economic development, social development, environmental sustainability, and also in June 2022, country launched its first NDCs, covering the period between 2015 and 2030. Moreover, Egypt aimed to be a regional leader in climate change and has stated its commitment to a sustainable future by setting quantifiable targets, including mitigation, about 33% of emission from electric sector, 65% from the associated gas subsector of the oil and gas sector, and 7% of emission from transportation sector by 2030. Next, please. EOS is a very great organization. It was established in 1957. And following, we have some activities performed by EOS, like developing and issuing Egyptian standard, gathering licenses for Egyptian quality mark and conformity certification for the Egyptian product in the various fields, calibration and of measured equipment and testing for companies and industrial establishment, carrying out laboratory testing and inspection of product, providing information for the concerned bodies in the field of standard, quality, measurement, and metrology, providing training courses for technical work in component industry authorities and other relevant concerned bodies. Next, please. Now, this is one of the major issues that we tackled in our organization, SDGs consideration in standard development process. EOS has issued around 11,000 standards up to date. We link all our standards, as we can see in the bar chart in this slide. We link all our standards with the United Nations SDGs. So we can find that EOS is the sole entity that has the right to issue energy and water efficiency label and environmental performance labeling for product. Also, we link all our standards with the United Nations SDGs to be considered in all future standard development process. Next, please. Also, Egypt standards support green economy and environmental protection. EOS developed about 16 Egyptian standards in the scope of recycling of building waste to be used in construction of bridges and in the paving roads. EOS collaborate with the UNIDO program for inclusive green growth, has developed series of Egyptian standards for circular economy and in agriculture sector. These standards support agribusiness to transform agri-waste. Next, please. Also, Egypt standard and conformity mark developed for efficient use of energy. This is a very important topic because we close the cycle from issuing the standard, ending with the developing of efficiency use and conformity mark. A special unit within EOS was established to activate ministerial decree in 2000, which number 171, 2011, to enforce producers and importers to affect energy combustion label on electrical appliance and lighting system. To implement this decree, EOS is tackling the role of conformity assessment certification for energy efficiency level of each appliance before introducing these products into the Egyptian market. Moreover, to facilitate the market surveillance process in assessing compliance and credibility of energy labeling on the devices presented in the Egyptian market, currently Egypt efficiency label are identified by QR code linked to the EOS website, through which you can inspector and customers could verify the certification and energy labeling for the product. Next, please. In the same target, we have a certification for the water consumption efficiency, where the same unit clarify and label sanitary water, weirs, showers, taps, regarding the level of efficiency in water consumption, that is to implement the relevant technical regulation for enforcing certification of such items regarding water consumption efficiency. Such label about water efficiency and sanitary wares will enable and guide customers for better selection and purchasing of the most economic items considering their efficiency in water consumption. Moreover, to facilitate market surveillance process, the same target or the same idea, we generate a QR code linked with the US website to facilitate the process for the buyer and customer. Next, please. This is one of our newest project, which we made it in EOS, environmental performance labeling for product. Environmental performance labeling enforces firstly paint and varnishes products in regards to the hazard and impact of these products on health and safety. Production with its permitted limit of heavy metals, lead, volatile organic compound, and formaldehyde in accordance with the relevant standard. Ministerial decree was released in 2022 with a 6 months grace period for companies to harmonize with the environmental performance requirement. Such label reflect the level of environmental friendship of these products in addition to health and safety confederation. Also, this label is also identified by QR code linked to EOS website to seek the traceability and market surveillance. Next, please. Finally, this is one of our biggest projects in the field to implement internal project related to sustainability. EOS installed one of the biggest solar power station in the governmental building, covering around 60% of consumption of energy in cooperation with the United Nations Development Program, UNDP. Next, please. EOS service in capacity building and raising awareness. This is one of the main objectives of EOS is to increase awareness regarding sustainability and regarding standard, and both of them are aligned together. So EOS Training Center offer a number of programs for companies, including SMEs, organization, universities, undergraduate and fresh graduate. EOS training program covered a wide range of topics that include quality management system, environmental management system, health and safety, environment, food safety, implementation of testing method for product quality assurance. Actually, we did a lot of programs in the Arab region, in the African region, and EOS is publishing at all the media platform, raising awareness about EOS activities regarding contribution in workshop and event for highlighting EOS roles in sustainability. Next, please. Approaching stakeholders for raising awareness of EOS and sustainability. We usually participate in conferences that focus on sustainability subject, green economy, green growth, whatever. Next, please. Conclusion, considering of sustainability aspect while developing standard is an important approach towards sustainable development. By working together, business, NSPs, and related stakeholders, we can create a more sustainable future. It's not an idea, it needs to be implemented on the ground. We need to work together to achieve our targets. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Khalid, for your crucial presentation and for highlighting the role of EOS as a national standard body, not only in developing the international standards in alignment with the Sustainable Development Goals, either for the country or for the global ones, but also to take it to the floor of implementation and using multiple of eco marks that reflect the sustainability issues to declare how far the production could be aligned with the sustainability elements. But again, if I could give you a question, sir, please, about in your opinion, what are the major challenges that NSP find now in regard of implementing your vision about supporting sustainability and sustainable development goals?
Actually, doing this experience as aligning standard with sustainability, and for the SMEs, they have two challenges. We need to minimize all the waste of cost and time. It need not to be costly. How to engage them in this process. Cost and time need to be minimized as much as we can, so we make their life easier. As we know, the slogan of ARSO is make standard for better, easier, and life for all participants. So I believe this is important.
Thank you, Dr. Khalid. And now it is the role of the fourth panelist for today, Dr. Mohammed Al-Saidi. He will tackle the subtopic in regard of stakeholder perceptions, drivers and constraints for adopting sustainability standards and harnessing the trade opportunities associated with transition to green economy by SMEs, sustainability-related practice in Egypt. Dr. Mohammed Saidi currently is an independent consultant and is a lecturer, and he is working globally in different fields. He has more than 20 years of international companies with full-time roles of which more than 10 years in top management positions. Dr. Saidi is currently an independent consultant as an industrial and business expert, certified syndicate consultant, assistant professor, course director, EOS committee member. Dr. Saidi has a PhD in engineering and has a doctorate in business administration, in addition to their certifications. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed, for being with us today, and the floor is yours.
Dr. Abir, and thank you all, and wish you all, everybody, a happy day and a nice day together. And really thanks for the event itself. And I will now try to share my screen. I'm sharing my screen now. I hope that you can see it.
Not yet.
Coming. It's clear now.
Yeah, it's coming, it's coming. Let's see. Taking long.
It came yet, or are you seeing it with me? No.
Not yet.
Not yet, not yet.
If you'd like, Mr. Dan, to tackle the role of sharing, or you will tackle it yourself? Okay, Dr. Mohammed, Dan tackling the role of sharing. You could start. Dr. Muhammad? Dr. Muhammad, you hear me? I think Dr. Muhammad is just lost some connection. He will reconnect soon.
If he is not able to connect shortly, I think we go to the next speaker. Then when he is ready, can.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Dominic, are you ready to be with us right now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So tell Dr. Saidi we will be with us. I'd like to welcome the last but not least panelist, Mr. Dominic de Garcia, for tackling the subtopic about making trade the engine of sustainability through sustainable manufacturing and production, and the emergence of sustainability standards as instruments for enhanced productive capacity and trade governance. He will highlight why it matters in the context of the SDGs 2030 and the trade, the USA STM experience. Mr. Dominic is currently the technical director of the Vinyl Institute and the ASTM International East Texas Membership Secretary. Mr. de Garcia is a chemical engineer with a strong business background. As a technical director, Mr. de Garcia works on technical matters related to material science, recycling, sustainability, and other core vinyl industry issues. Mr. de Garcia joined the VI from Lobrizol Corporation, and where he was the global business development manager responsible for identifying new market opportunities for CPVC. In that role, he also led sustainability efforts for this kind of business. In his bio, he highlights that I once started a craft brewery at one point during his early career. De Garcia and a partner founded and ultimately failed to launch a craft brewing business. Told the Vinyl Institute that the biggest thing he learned from that experience was that he gave up that he will not give up too soon. He said that experience spurred his to decide himself to work even harder at everything he has done since then. Mr. de Garcia holds a Bachelor in Science and Chemical Engineering from the University of Michigan and an MBA from Wayne State University. While he is no longer brewing beer, he enjoys hiking, biking, skiing, and playing the guitar. Mr. Dominic, I think I have introduced you in detail.
in great detail, yes. Thank you so much. Did not expect that. That's excellent. Thank you. So as you know, I'm with the ASTM International, and I serve as the member chair of the E60 committee. This year, ASTM is celebrating its 125th anniversary as the leading consensus standards development organization for the United States. And ASTM standards have been adopted in many government regulations in the U.S. And other places as well. Frequently, we have government officials that are serving alongside stakeholders from industry and academia NGOs, and even individuals. ASTM has 124 MOU partners, Memorandum of Understanding partners worldwide. 35 of those partners are in Africa, including ARSO. So if you have any questions about this or any of our other partnerships, you please contact ASTM's Global Cooperation Department. If you can move to the next slide, or perhaps you're not sharing slides right now. But that is Philippe, are you running the slides? No?
Yes, if you want us to
myself.
slide to run it, then we can run it. Let me see if we have it.
I can do it. It's okay. I've got it. No problem.
Yes, just share it kindly.
Sure, I've got it. No problem. So, okay, great. So, as I mentioned, we have, within ASTM, there's over 34,000 members from 150 countries. We have 148 committees, and those committees cover over 90 industry sectors, from aviation, construction, manufacturing, solar panels, water pipes, that sort of thing. And what's interesting about E60 serves as a forum that connects members from across the entire standards organization so that we can share information and knowledge about how to achieve sustainable development goals together. So E60, it not only serves to develop the standards themselves, but it's also a forum for knowledge transfer. And it's a way for the members to then bring sustainability related information back into their other committees so that they can introduce sustainability concepts into the development of material specifications or testing methods or other practices across the entire 90 industry sectors. So we in E60, we have many deep and important discussions that address, for example, the assessment, how to assess attributes of materials and products and services and how they contribute to sustainability. We seek to explore and understand the public need for standards related to sustainability and what sort of standards both the government and NGOs and eco-labels are seeking to introduce into business and industry everywhere. And also, we propose new standards as appropriate. So moving to the UN SDGs specifically, currently ASTM standards relate to 12 of the 17 UN SDGs. So those, only a few are listed here. Some other ones would include clean water, in particular, like how different pipes are formed. We also do, clean energy. There are standards for nuclear energy and sustainable aviation fuel and renewable energy. There are standards for biomass and other things like this. And so I'm going to just talk about two of these UN SDGs right now in the spirit of time. The main, or one of the main ones that we do talk about quite often is climate action. So at E60, which was founded in 2008, and we have around 700 members right now, we have 5 different subcommittees within E60 where we do have conversations around climate impacts and what would some ways that we should be addressing climate impacts, whether it would be for how to introduce sustainability metrics into whole building assessments for, when consultants wanted to design a new building and they wanted to have a framework for what materials to choose or for how to measure a building's carbon impact. We have standards for something like that. We also have standards related to recycled content in products and how to address those within a life cycle assessment. So there are standards for that. And so these different subcommittees are forming those standards and looking for new ones that we would want to introduce. I want to highlight real quickly this E60.42, Sustainable Healthcare. This is our newest subcommittee, and we already have one standard that has been introduced, which is to manage sustainability practices in dentistry. So it's not just about buildings and materials or energy, It's about a holistic view of how different service industries can even take sustainability practices forward in their industry. And so we're going to grow this out into other ways that all healthcare facilities can run their practices more efficiently to, again, prevent having too many climate impacts, too much GHG impact from their operations and from the embodied carbon going into building their facilities and whatnot. You can see there are a number of other committees that are addressing climate action. Interestingly, Homeland Security is one of those. They look at resiliency. There's within E50, this environmental assessment group, there's a whole entire subcommittee based on climate and community, which is where we're looking to anticipate climate-related impacts from wildfires or flooding or drought, and what would the systems in those communities need to do to adapt better and be more resilient toward those climate events happening. So another SDG that we do, I think, some good work in developing standards for is around responsible consumption and production. In particular, ASTM E60 has developed a report called Fostering a Circular Economy of Manufacturing Materials. It was a workshop that we ran in 2022, and we did a full survey of many different members and stakeholders that gave us some key takeaways. So I would encourage people to look into that report. As you know, manufacturers can play a pivotal role in assuring that the materials are designed and used efficiently and that they remain in the economy for as long as possible. So understand that, there are standards within each of the various standards committees at ASTM, and E60 is the place where we try to get everybody to be thinking along the lines of this durability, efficiency, and removing and reducing waste. So with that being said, that was really my final slide. I just wanted to share a few highlights with you, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dominic, for your crucial presentation. And I'd like to thank you for this comprehensive presentation in regard of the work that ASTM tackle, specifically the committee of E60 in this regard. And in accordance to your role in ASTM, could you please highlight how are the ASTM standards mainstreaming sustainability in manufacturing and production processes? In a little bit brief about this.
So how are they formed? Is that the question? So they are formed essentially, for, let's say, for example, in manufacturing, one of the standards that we have developed is, there's a standard guide for water stewardship in the design and construction and operation of buildings. And so in that standard, we may look at, water reduction, guidance. I would say guidance for building owners and designers. So as the building designers are seeking that guidance, what that does to connect it to manufacturers is you may have a manufacturer that is going to develop, say, a low water flow fixture for a given building type, and they may reference that they're participating or doing something with respect to an ASTM standard for that low water flow fixture, as an example. There are also ways of looking at the, again, whole building life cycle assessments. So not just, say, water stewardship, but again, a more holistic view at a life cycle impact of a building. And so what we're doing is we're facilitating, if a company, a manufacturer of a product, say, siding materials on the side of a building, like exterior cladding, if they want to highlight that their cladding material has a lower carbon impact, what they can do is then reference that their material, as as they're developing information about their products, they can make sure that that information matches the information that's wanted or needed in those whole building lifecycle assessments. So, and then working through the different providers and purveyors of the information so that they can make sure they're communicating what are the attributes of their product in the most effective way to the designers that are going to need that information in order to design the facility with the right info. So there are some certifications that can go along the way that tie these things together. We try to push the sustainability standards as framework standards for the different committees that are making materials to say, if you're going to develop a sustainable product, like a roofing product or a piping product or a sustainable guide for solar panels, for example, we would want you to follow these guidance from E60 to say this is how your group should do this in a fair way.
Thank you, Mr. Dominique. And now again, Dr. Saeed, you are with us right now on the floor for presenting to us the how transition to green economy by SMEs and sustainability-related practices in Egypt. The floor is yours, sir.
I think now, thank you. I think now you can see the screen, I hope.
Yes, we see it, but start to let it a presentation mode. Yes,
good, good. Now it's okay.
It's okay right now.
Great. I'm really happy to be with you today, and with such a hot topic and important one for the future, and actually even for the present. Sustainability-related practice in Egypt. It was just like what would be our agenda today. We are going to discuss a little bit about highlighting the importance of the sustainability, which already has been enhanced and endorsed by Dr. Khalid in his presentation. And then we are going to show a number of current ongoing projects in Egypt related to sustainability and the introduction of samples of EOS practices, which has been done already within the committees, and review some industrial sector application. So actually the importance, as has been highlighted, it is a reduced environmental impact, which will protect the environment for the future, in addition to saving money by minimizing the waste. But also one of the important things is about improving the employee health and safety, which will lead to increase in productivity and morality between the workers. Moreover, I think one of the important things in the sustainability that it inspire development of new technologies and processes in order to find better friendly solutions, environmental, which will also create jobs and opportunities for the different sectors. Companies can also attract and retain customers who are looking for environmental friendly products, accordingly open new markets locally and internationally. Egypt is not only in Africa, but also it is considered as a land and naval access linking continents together. Egypt has population over 100 million person, and more than 64 billion US dollars are already listed in the stocks in the Egyptian exchange. Egypt leadership has set a 2030 plan, which is directly related to sustainability and development. And I would just like go together with this small video, part of the video, which is on YouTube already, showing some of the mega projects in Egypt. So from this video, you can also notice that there is a lot of mega projects ongoing on the ground in Egypt regarding sustainability. And this will lead me that in EOS committees itself, it's also part of its role to identify the priority for national standards to bridge the gap between national needs and market requirements, with fulfilling the national and market and standards and requirements and also agreements together. Several factors are also considered, such as environment, consumer safety, commercial and technical aspects. The committees have members representing different stakeholders in such related fields. Moreover, as has been highlighted earlier, that and each standard is linked with standard SDGs so that they can be tracked, and also in order to emphasize the importance of sustainability along the way. Moreover, standards are also updated from time to time to accommodate recent changes, wishes, and challenges on the ground. I will just take you with a small case review from Building Materials Committee, where we have taken the priority of reviewing the possibility to increase the sustainable products in the market and overcome the construction's waste landfilling. This is a real pictures from the ground where new products has been released in the market, which are lower CO2 emissions cement products, which standards are issued after categorizing the different cement applications, either for reinforced or non-reinforced work. Thus, new products are released in the market for non-reinforced finishing works, such as bricks, masonry works. Such products have visually red label so that they can also be distinguished from reinforced work cement and accordingly used in a proper application. That not only reduced the CO2 emissions, but also this increased the user awareness for possible alternatives, saving the environment and also saving money by having different applications and choosing the proper one. Egypt also is ongoing a lot of construction projects, as has been shown in the previous video, requiring demolishing or reconstructions. According, some waste has been generated, which were landfilled in the past, and by the EOS in joint program with several organizations and identities, several or over 16 standards has been issued, which give a limited use of recycled materials from constructions and demolition waste in some products, such as tiles and curbstones and bricks or aggregates. This will overcome the problem of accumulated waste or landfilling, in addition to create new job opportunities and investment in the recycling processes. And as you can see, this is also a picture from real life, where it was earlier the waste, and nowadays it started to have been used in different products. And this is a sample of the standards which has been issued related to such utilization of demolished waste. Moreover, as I'm a member in also the Sustainability Committee, which I'm glad to be with also, that there is this committee has taken priority of reviewing and issuing related standards to facilitate the country steps towards sustainability. We are also keen to be on the front edge that support all the organizations. So as currently one of the country roadmap is to have sustainable cities and infrastructure, as illustrated in the aerial video, and will be also further elaborated in the next one. The committee has taken the lead for developing and issuing related national standards. Recently, more than 10 standards are issued as a priority for being aligned with country strategic roadmap, such as descriptive framework for cities and communities, transforming our cities guidance for practical local implementation of ISO 37 and 101, smart community infrastructures, best practice guidelines for transportation, smart transportation using battery-powered buses, and guidance on smart transportation with use of digitally processed payment. And this will be seen later on in a video as a real-life application on the ground has been implemented already. Smart transportation for rapid transit in and between large city zones and their surrounding areas, which will also be seen later on. Smart transportation for energy-saving operation by intentionally driving slowly. And this is a list of these different standards which has been issued, a sample of it. And I would like to be glad to share with you this video also, which will have the link available on the YouTube, showing that the standard issuance is in accordance with the reality on the ground practice and projects. Please let us see this one. So this is already transportation means that has been already now in functioning in Egypt, and as it can be seen, already has been utilizing some and application of some of the standards which will be issued. This not only where practice has been done for sustainability, but also the different sectors been introduced with and has been working with such relevant sustainability approaches, which we are going to go through some examples along over here. One of the things which is really running importantly and having a hot topic on the plate, as you can say, that energy efficiency and optimization. A number of companies started energy efficiency management programs to cope with the new challenges of sustainability along the way. For example, Titan Cement Egypt have already successfully accomplished the energy management system ISO 50001. And there's a lot also of other sectors and other companies which is on the track. Moreover, this picture is showing how waste is transferred to alternative fuels and raw materials. This chart shows the importance of the co-processing and benefit gain, even from incineration compared to landfilling. Number of companies are interested in alternative fuels usage, considering the sustainability impact and recent regulation, which also endorse and motivate such utilization. One of the main market providers is Geocycle Egypt, which facilitate the process of transforming wastes into alternative fuels and raw materials. That's not also the only industrial things, but also agricultural waste recycling and utilization has also been considered by a number of companies. And the example is Papyrus Australia started in Egypt recently for applying sustainable technology that converts banana plantation waste into fiber and biodegradable food packaging products. Renewable energy. And this is, of course, one of the important things along the way that always looking for renewable and green energy solutions. Different providers are merged in the Egyptian market, such as one of the companies is Jet Solar, which offers locally manufactured solar panels. They are not only producers or designers, but they also provide training as community service through their production line, so that people can be more acquainted and awareness of the solar panels. As you can see, those are samples of Jet Solar products and solar projects, which are located around Egypt in different areas and location, and ideas also. Finally, I would like to share with you that we are all looking for a brighter future by applying sustainable development goals. And I really believe that together we can. That's it for me, and thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Bia.
Thank you, Dr. Saidi, for your crucial presentation that highlight the sustainability activities and implementation in different sectors in Egypt. And as a final question for you today, for the in regard of your panel presentation, do you have any examples for the reasons behind the firms, any firms specifically those belong to SME sector, to engage in sustainability area and implementation of sustainability activities in regard either of production or trade?
Yeah, there is a lot of actually examples as I can be seen in the picture, the slides already, and also there is a lot of challenges they are facing, of course, like funding and training programs, and also more about the incentives, which could be for SMEs, so which can help a lot in more sustainability development projects, and this will be, I think, of a big help.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dr. Saidi. And also, I'd like to thank all our panelists for today for their crucial and detailed presentation, an informative one, of course, that highlight the role of standardization in sustainable manufacturing, production, and trade that leads to different, with a lot of benefits in regard of sustainable development. And the floor now for you, Robin or Dr. Philippe, for the impact and takeaways.
Yeah, right now we are giving the opportunity to the presenters to give us their takeaways, just a minute or so. And so we can start with, I don't know whether our first presenters is available, Dr. Manish Pandey. If not, then we can go to Mr. Philip.
Thank you very much. And thank you once more to all of the participants, the delegates. It has been a great opportunity. My takeaway in this case is about the issue of sustainability. You see, the need for sustainable development goes hand in hand together with the issue of sustainable trade and sustainable manufacturing. And we know the role of standardization in all of this. This makes us to move towards sustainability standards, the issues of certification, the issues of eco-labeling, becoming very central to the production systems that we have all over. So making them very relevant to our needs, and also addressing the cost challenges that are associated, and including or making the process to be much more transparent and inclusive, will make us in Africa to achieve the SDG goals through standardization that currently we have undertaken to take. It is happening both at the national level, as we have seen from Egypt presentations, from all over Africa, at the regional level and the continental level. So I think through ARSO systems also, we move together without leaving anybody behind. I saw in the chat box also somebody asking how they can reach, the SMEs can reach a central place where they can get this information. And I want to assure him or her that the ARSO Central Secretariat has the opportunity to do further connections on such requests. So we will take your email and reach out to you. Thank you once more for the participation. Thank you.
Yeah, because I would like Dr. Khalid Sufi to be the last and give his remarks. I will skip him for now. Dr. Mohammed El Said, please, you are last to remarks.
Yeah, I have two items. First of all, I'm very glad with this session. It was amazing, a lot of knowledge. And what we need to urgently focus in is to increase the awareness about sustainability issues in Africa and align all our national standards with sustainable development goals, and to close the cycle by conformity assessment and make sure that conformity assessment align with sustainability goals. For the all the MSEs, I believe we need to minimize cost and time for transformation to sustainability. This is very important. This will add too much value and give a very fast result.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. Mohammed El Said.
Yeah, I think one of the important things for the future also is to have a clear regularity and commitments as a long term. which will also help the people or the companies to build up their future plans. In addition to the incentives for the SMEs, so that they can face the challenges of extra cost in case of any project or capex upfront payments, and to provide the funds with easy facilitation supports. As Dr. Khalid said, it also training is really important, because the awareness and training is sometimes there is a fund available, but the people cannot know how to utilize it properly. So it is also one of the really big gaps which we need to cover such a gap.
Yeah, thank you very much. And then we have Dominic DeCaria.
Yeah, I think for me, the takeaways that I would say, first of all, participation is key. Support to what Dr. Al-Saadi just said. We need to have the support of both industry, government alike to be able to come together as collaborators. This actually fits in with UN SDG number 17. Okay, so for everybody on this call, if you don't think SDG 17 matters, it is tremendously important, because it does call for that public-private partnership, okay? So forming our standards, strategies, and methodologies around that, I think, is important. And also just knowing that strategy in general, being holistic in our approach and not just trying to take, single one-off approaches with sustainable impacts on one area without considering how sustainability affects all the different areas of the economy. I think we need to be more holistic in our approach. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just a notification of the next webinar. It shall be held on 25th of October. And that time it shall be with the Standard Association of Zimbabwe, where we will be looking at the potential of manufacturing and industrialization in Africa, the topic being building Africa's manufacturing strength in the textile and leather industry as backbone for Africa's economy, and creating a competitive value chain, trends, opportunities, and strategies. So that shall be hosted between ARSO and Cosmas McCoy, Director General of Standard Association of Zimbabwe. I wish to honorably thank very much our moderator, Dr. Abia Sadek, for the very good and smooth steering of the moderation of this webinar. And we really look forward to having another opportunity to do that. I thank you very much, sir, Dr. Khalid Hassan Sufi, for allowing us to co-host with you and learning a lot of experiences from Egypt with respect to the approach that you've taken to sustainability. And we look forward to working a lot with you. It is indeed a great honor that we have hosted this with you. And thank you very much all. I wish to thank our participants as usual. We don't take you for granted. You've taken up of your time to be with us, and to assure you that all the presentations will be available to you so that you can make reference to that. If there is nothing more to add, Dr. Khalid, if you have any last words to us, please, you can go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. And as I mentioned, more sessions like this, more webinars like this, more awareness is the key.
Thank you very much, sir. And we look forward to inviting you, even if it is to participate as a panelist in the next webinars for Egypt, to share with us and more knowledge about that we can share and gain more from ourselves. So before we go, as a matter of record keeping, kindly all those who are available, please put on your videos. Well, let's take some presence in this as a memory for this particular occasion. Dr. Abia Sadiq, if you have a word, you are muted. So.
Okay. Thank you, Robin, and thank you, Dr. Philippe. Thank you for all the panelists. I'm appreciating to be the moderator of today's webinar. Hoping to have multiple webinars in this context that serve all of African countries in the way of achieving sustainability and sustainable development goals for the African agenda and, of course, for the global agenda. Thank you all, and wishing all you the best in the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, you can tell us if you are finished.
Thank you very much. Finalized. You can exit.
Thank you very much. God be with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Philippe.